One. Hello everyone, welcome to the preview for the game against Fulham at Craven Cottage. A game that isn't typically exciting, but given the performance last Sunday, who knows what we are in store for, people. Alongside me to pick the bones of this game is Mr. Shreyas Singh. Simply put, Shreyas, all the enthusiasm completely goes out the window if United lose this game on Sunday, right?
Yeah, there are high expectations riding on us now. Because after that Arsenal game, people are a bit disappointed with the result, but I think a majority of the fan base is quite happy with the way we performed, with the way we attacked, and overall as a complete team performance. It wasn't that just one department worked well. It was in quite some time that United as a whole unit for the entire 90 asserted their dominance over another team, especially a team that is, you could say, challenging for the Premier League this year. So now that you go out against a team like Fulham, expectations are going to be high, because one thing that United has struggled with in the past, every single season since Fergie left, was consistency week in and week out, especially against teams that are in that middle category or that, fighting for relegation. We are not able to, emulate that sort of form week in and week out. So if United can do what they did against Arsenal, the same way against Fulham, I think that's when we'll even feel composed that, okay, this is a level that we can expect from these guys, no matter who the opposition is. Now, if you want to build up on that, now if you want to develop on that, that is a different conversation. But this is, we need to understand the bare minimum that we can expect from United this year. So if we can do this at least 4 games in a row, I think fans will feel a lot more composed about our chances this season.
I think the main debate coming out of the Arsenal game for me was people talking about, we might have played well, but we didn't win and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. The main argument I had was whenever we've played a top 14, top 16, call it whatever you want, whether it's under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Erik ten Hag, Ralf Rangnick, whoever, the majority of the time, it's always been on the counter-attack. It's always been on the transition. We play the back foot and we nick it. Think about the City games, think about Liverpool at times, whenever we beat them or nick to draw. It's always been, they've been kind of dominating the ball, but we just hit them with such a quick counter-attack, we can kill them. And that was never really sustainable. It's sustainable against the big teams, but then when you play the teams near the bottom who sit quite deep and play a low block, that you can't play that game under him, So you need dominance in general. And I thought on Sunday, you look at all the metrics you want, whether it's possession, whether it's total shots, XG, everything was better from us. Yep. Now, granted, I do think Arsenal weren't at the races, weren't at the best. It was probably Declan Rice's worst game. I think Saka, Ødegaard didn't really do much, didn't look up to speed. But maybe that was also part of us as well who nullified that to a certain extent.
In fairness to United as well, Mason Mount and Bruno didn't allow them any sort of space in that midfield of the ball. Like the way they pressed, especially with Cunha and Mbeumo in there as well. It wasn't easy for Arsenal to actually, counter press or actually break through United. And that is probably one of the biggest reasons they didn't really have even a single clear shot on target throughout the entire 90 minutes.
Yeah. I think if you're going through a tick box of everything you look at from Sunday, I was like, okay, tempo was right up there. The way they were shifting the ball, perfect. Pressing, much better. Patterns in possession, 1v1s, defensively, everything was I can't really fault them much. It was just the goal. That was the only thing where you're like, that was quite literally the only thing that performance was missing.
And we came too close on too many opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you're likely to get more opportunities against the Fulham team, I would kind of suggest. Arsenal are the best defensive team in the league. And that's pretty much, they've got the best centre-back partnership. They've got the best goalkeeper in the league, in my opinion. It was always going to be difficult. Fulham, slightly different challenge. But speaking about defence and goalkeepers, Andre Onana straight back in goal. Is he going to be straight back in goal? Is he fit enough to go? Apart from the corner that we conceded, which obviously was the main highlight of the game, what did you think of his actual overall game?
If you take that moment out, he actually had a decent game. Distribution-wise as well, he was quite decent. I think barring that goal, even while playing the ball out from the back, the way he distributed the ball out to Dorgu, to Dalot, even at times to De Ligt, it looked a whole lot more composed than it did last year. Because last year it looked like, you're way too hesitant. And at the same time, you're way too scared to actually, make a mistake. So you're just doing things to get out of trouble. Right now, it looked like it was much more of a plan. It looked a lot more pattern wise and instinct wise as to how he distributed the ball out, and it was a lot more accurate than it was last year. So if you have to take that into consideration, I think Binder gets another shot in that goalkeeping position, because another thing is, if you hear the manager's comments about Onana, the reason why he actually because a lot of people thought that he's not fit enough or that he's still injured, but the thing was that he's back. He has had a few training sessions, but he's still not actually picked them. So that speaks a lot that the manager has not picked Onana and gone for Binder. So I think there is something going on there.
Now, a lot of people were saying to me about the Onana situation, why can't they do what they done with Rasmus, for example, and kind of isolate him from the squad a little bit to get him to force a move, basically. And I was saying to my mates, I was like, it's a lot riskier with a goalkeeper, especially when both your goalkeepers, obviously prior to the Arsenal game, you kind of like, none of them are good enough to be number one. So you don't want that position to be shaky. Every team who's going in near the top, they know Liverpool know Alisson is their goalkeeper. Arsenal know Kepa's, not Kepa, Jesus Christ. No, Rayo is their goalkeeper. Getting Spanish goalkeepers mixed up. Although they have signed Kepa, haven't they? Arsenal.
They have signed Kepa,
haven't they? Yeah, I thought so. So, yeah, you need that position just to be known. You need it to be, like, solid, and that's my guy who I'm going to for the start of the game. And it doesn't feel like that for United at the minute. So that's a bit of a worry. But I think the three centre-backs in front of him, Shreyas, Yoro, De Ligt, Luke Shaw, looked extremely well-balanced. Should that be the back three moving forward, do you think?
At least for now, yes, because I think
you muted yourself.
Hello?
Or is it me? Oh, go on.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So I think right now, if you look at that Arsenal game and you look at the way De Ligt performed, the way Shaw performed and Europe, I think they had the perfect game. I think if you look at it from the perspective of Amorim's time, this has been the best defensive performance. I've actually seen United have. And De Ligt was monstrous. Euro was monstrous. Even Shaw looked, if you have to compare it to last year, a whole lot better in comparison to last year, because he didn't look at the races at all when he came back last year and started a few games. He looks a lot better now. And the partnership helps. Luke Shaw is still, definitely he's lost a yard of pace, but he's still really good on the ball. De Ligt, his blocks and, the way he imposed his physicality on the opposition attackers, you could really see De Ligt actually come to his own in that last game. And, you could see what level he can actually get to when he gets going as a leader in that backline. Euro, again, I think probably one of our most consistent players through preseason, and even now, he's just shown that, the 60 million that United paid for him, it is well worth it. So I think you don't really need to touch that. For me, you don't really need to touch that backline or that goalkeeping position, because at least for now, it's working well. Lisandro is not back yet. Maguire is still around. So even if something happens, you have that option to actually bring him on to, have some sort of a change. But I'm quite happy with that backline.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Euro. I've got to admit, I think 3-4 years time, how much is he going to be worth as a centre back?
Yeah.
Like he's got all the tools to be like one of the very best, and that's not. I don't think that's over-egging it. I think when you watch him play, you see he's going to be a top centre back. So really excited to see him develop, and that right hand side absolutely is. For the foreseeable. What about the opposite end of the pitch then? Should we expect someone like a Benjamin Sesko to start in this one? And what does that look like as well? Because this is kind of the issue I take with this. Mount started against Arsenal. I thought Mount played really, really well against Arsenal and helped a lot, especially off the ball, as he does. If you take that element out of the team, but then put Benjamin Sesko in the team, you're more likely to score. You have more of a target man. You have someone to hit when you're putting crosses into the box. But maybe you lose something off the front in that sense.
The thing is, if Mount isn't there, I still think the team will work without Mount. Because pressing-wise, you still got Bruno, you still got Cunha and Mbeumo as well. They do a phenomenal job tracking back. And people still haven't really seen Sesko in that 9. And as far as I've seen him at Leipzig, he knows how to track back. And he knows, actually, how to press. He's done it a lot of times at Leipzig. And I think in this team, he would do the same job as well. So, of course, I think Mason Mount is a phenomenal piece in this sort of a system, this fluid front three, because it works really well. But I still think that if you get Sesko in, he gets a consistent place in that striking position, and I know that we'll not lose a lot when you have to look at it from off the ball movement. Of course, I still think that going into the season, it's good that you still have Mason Mount, because you must have four attackers in there to shuffle around, because in set games, Cunha, Mbumo, Sesko, you need to manage their game time. It's not going to be a scenario where they're starting 38 games in totality since from the start. You will see games where Mount is going to start. You will probably still see games where Mbumo is not there or Cunha is not there, and with AFCON coming around as well, Mason Mount is going to get a lot of minutes. Ahmad will be going out away as well, so we have to accommodate. You need to have players who have that sort of quality, that if certain players depart for a particular 2 to 3 week stint, you don't lose as much when it comes to your application on the pitch. And I think Mount really helps us out a lot, because barring the goal or not getting an assist, I think the reason why Arsenal's midfield didn't click was Mason Mount.
Yeah, I agree. Sorry, someone's just phoning me whilst I'm turn that down. There we go. No, I agree with you. I'd love to know everyone else's thoughts on that situation, by the way, as well. Would you still stick with Mason Mount as that false nine, Cunha false nine, call it whatever you want? It's a fluid front three, right? Would you stick with that, or are you starting Benjamin Sesko from the start? And what are your expectations from him? Because everyone who I'm speaking to about Sesko, they're like, oh, pressure's on him now, it's huge. But in actual fact, he's got 2 Premier League proven gems who fit in straight away either side of him. He's got Bruno Fernandes, the best creative midfielder in the league behind him as well as Amad Diallo and Dorgu, who's looking really, really good at the minute. So if I'm Sesko, actually, I'm looking at it, I'm like, if I don't deliver in this team, like, I've got to look at myself, really, because you've got all the tools you need around you to score the goals. So I'm really, really excited to see that dynamic and how that works. And I'm not mad if he has to come off the bench. Sweet, I don't mind it. If you want to do that and introduce him slowly, not a problem at all. Because even then, if you start in a team, the reliance is on, okay, Mount, Mbumo, Cunha, you're the guys who need to score. And they've got years' worth of experience. So that's absolutely fine by me. On Fulham, a team, obviously, who knocked us out of the FA Cup last season. But in general, it always seems to be a close game between these two, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, last year we sort of had this sort of a rivalry between Lisandro and Adama Traore. In a few games. Do you remember?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Lisandro scored a winner at Craven Cottage as well in one of those
deflected, wasn't it?
Yeah, so there's definitely something going on there. Lisandro won't be there for this one, but again, Fulham have been a tough opposition for us in the past 2 seasons. Now, you could definitely put out a lot of reasons for it, but the thing is, if you lay out the facts, Fulham have given us a hard time. We managed to put away with 1-0 results on a lot of occasions, but I think this time around the situation will be a whole lot different. I think Fulham didn't look good against Brighton in that first game. I think they didn't look confident enough for me. And I think Brighton probably could have nicked the 3 points. So I think if you go into this game with the same energy that you had against Arsenal, I think United can do a whole lot of damage against Fulham, because again, Fulham are a team that make a lot of mistakes while they play the ball out from the back. And one thing that I noticed with United during Bournemouth as well, if you see even a little bit of shakiness in that back line, we know how to, capitalize on the mistakes now. We saw it a lot of times against Bournemouth, and I think if we can do that against Fulham, you get an early goal, their heads drop. So if you can get an early goal within the first 20 minutes, I think United can cruise through that game.
Yeah. One of the biggest focuses for Ruben Amorim during the summer was the kind of getting the players fit, strong enough. And these kind of games are the reason why, or one of the reasons, because when I watched us against Fulham, players like Iwobi, runners just off you find them little pockets when they have like a quick transition or whatever. Players like that are usually the ones who hurt us. But I think we are dealing better with that. We're pressing much better. They seemed a lot more switched on. So it's almost like it's in United's hands. But if you had that individual mistake in you, the Fulham will punish you. There will be that team to kind of, especially someone like Iwobi, or even like Calvin Bassey, for example. I think he scored a couple of goals against us. He scored in the FA Cup, and then I think he scored in the league game as well.
They've still got Muniz, who is a tricky player to come up against. Raul Jimenez again,
on
a big
Muniz,
striker.
Just because you mentioned him, there's a stat on him. who's been a bit of a super sub at the minute. So 7
Yeah.
of Rodrigo Muniz's last 9 goals, have come from the bench, the most of any player since the start of last season. He equalised in the 97th minute of their 1-1 draw against Brighton. And also you got Harry Wilson as well, who has a habit of coming off the bench and doing something a bit mad, like a goal or an assist. I was actually going to put him in my fantasy team. I don't know why I didn't put him, because he's always one of them players who's really cheap, but he seems to do something every time he comes off the bench. So it's not as if they don't have danger men. They don't really have a star player though, do they?
They still got Smith Rowe, if I'm not wrong, as well.
Yeah, I think so. Because he went on loan initially, right? I think from Arsenal.
I'm not too sure, but I think that he's probably still. I don't think he played against Brighton.
Let's have a look. I thought it was an initial loan, and then it was going to be like a permanent signing after that. So let me just double check, see if he's moved. Smith Rowe, Fulham, player profile. It says for current club Fulham, so they made the transfer permanent. Yeah, so Fulham fee €30 million for Smith Rowe. It might have been a straight thingy then. I read somewhere that it was a loan.
Yeah, it's a transfer.
Fair enough. If his transfer is transfer, would you say he is the guy though? Out of them all, is he the one with the best ability? Would you say for Fulham?
Yes. I think he's someone who can actually hurt us a lot in that game. And Muniz, like we mentioned as well, I think these are 2 players who we really need to watch out for. But besides that, I think I'm quite happy with how fit and how, physicality-wise we become a whole lot more competent. I don't think it will be as lackluster as we've seen, previous games against teams like Fulham actually go. So I expect a better performance from United going into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Last question on Fulham. Where do you expect them to finish this year? I had a look at their transfer window before, and do you know what they've done? They've signed a 34-year-old French keeper for £500,000, and that's it.
The thing is, I think they peaked last year, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's their best season they're ever going to get.
Yeah, and I think they'll be around that 12th or 14th position, personally. I don't think that they'll be fighting relegation. I think they still got, decent enough players to maintain their status in the Prem. But I don't see them, going for 8th or 9th. I think there are teams, honestly, I think Brighton have a whole lot more quality than they do. I think Forest still have a whole lot more quality than they do. Newcastle are still there. Villa are still there. So there are a whole bunch of teams who actually, I think, have a better shot at actually, getting into that conversation of top 10. And again, you never know, one of these promoted teams, the way this first match week has gone, these surprises happen a lot that they end up in the top 11 or top 12.
Yeah, you can't have a window like that. I mean, even if you want to maintain your position 9th or 10th, or wherever it is they finished, you've got to buy just to even compete in those positions. You look at the business that other teams are doing around you, I'd worry if I was a Fulham fan, to be honest with you. Players to watch in this game, one from Man United and one from Fulham.
From United, Cunha.
Okay. Yeah,
and
it was exciting, wasn't it? Some of the touches that he did against Arsenal. Wow.
Yeah. He just rams through, like, doesn't care who's ahead of him. He's just going to ram through the line.
He's a maverick, innit? He really, really is a maverick.
Like, this is the first time, like, it shows you signed a Brazilian attacker.
Yes, spot on. And we've signed some shit Brazilians, so
yeah,
we would know the difference. One from Fulham?
I think Muniz is a troublemaker.
Okay. With United, and this is an absolute fact, by the way. Brian Mbeumo will 100% open his scoring account against Fulham on Sunday. Remember me saying this; it will happen. Yeah, 1,000,000%.
And Cunha.
Oh, well, I hope so. I hope we win 5-0. Fulham, I'll go Harry Wilson. Some kind of curled effort, corner, free kick, something will probably cause a problem. So I'll throw that out there. And before we get into the predicted 11s, I'm just going to read some key stats out for you. So Fulham have just won one of their last 19 Premier League games against Manchester United, beating them 2-1 at Old Trafford in February 2024. United have won each of their last 8 Premier League away games against Fulham. They've never won 9 in a row against an opponent in their league history. Ruben Amorim has suffered 15 Premier League defeats in just 28 games as United manager, with Spurs the only current side who have lost more games than United since Amorim's first game in charge. And Fulham's manager Marco Silva has lost 7 of his 10 Premier League matches against Man United, only losing more against Man City. On home soil, he's lost 4 out of 5 against United, with the other a 4-0 win as Everton boss in April 2019. Let's get into the starting lineups then. Mine's on the screen first, Shreyas, so I'll just blitz through mine. And then there's only a couple of tweaks from either team. I've gone with Onana in net just because, I don't know, there seems to be a lot of focus around Bayern and the mistake that he made, and Onana's kind of floating about there. I think if he doesn't play him again, then there will be big headlines and question marks around it. And I don't know if Ruben Amorim necessarily wants that. But I do admit that it could be 50-50, that position. It could go either way. I think Yoro, De Ligt and Shaw, for the reasons that we just spoken about, I wouldn't change that at all. I would definitely keep him there. Ahmad and Dorgu. Ahmad more so because you want to be more attacking in this game against someone like Fulham. Arsenal seem to be a little bit cautious, but you can't be cautious with this. You just got to go there and batter him, in my opinion. Dorgu been playing really, really well. Cass and Bruno seem to work for now in the Arsenal game. So again, why would you want to change that? And then I want to start my boy Sesko up top. I want to be causing problems in that box. You've got players like Mbumo, who I think statistically have the most crosses in the Premier League last season. So he needs someone to be on the end of those crosses, and Sesko is that guy. He really is. And then Cunha for obvious reasons as well. So that's why I've gone with that team. Talk me through yours.
I've gone with the same team, unchanged. The one position I was kind of in a pickle about was the goalkeeping spot, but hearing how strongly Amorim actually came to defend Bayern in the post-match conference, I think Bayern will get the nod in this game as well. And again, nothing against Onana, nothing against Bayern. I just want someone who can come in and fill us with confidence that they can do a job for us, at least for this season. So I think it will be an unchanged 11, and hopefully our number 7 actually opens the scoring for us.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Right, let's do a quick fire round then. Do any of current Fulham players, get into Man United's current team?
Who's their goalkeeper?
Leno.
Nah.
Right, fair enough. Will Cunha score or assist?
Yes.
Okay. Most likely player to get a yellow card in this game?
Casemiro.
I'd even say Lukic, is it, for Fulham in the midfield? I'd go with him. Will Fulham score?
No.
And who gets player of the match?
Bruno.
Okay, perfect. Right, there's only one thing left to do then, Shreyas, and that is the score prediction. Do you want me to go first, or are you going to go?
You go first.
Me go first. Okay. What do you predict I'm going to predict?
2-1.
You're close. You're close. 2-0. I've gone with. I'm not giving him a goal. Yeah. I'm not, because I think we was really good defensively against Arsenal. Fulham aren't known for set pieces. Watch me be my final words now. Harry Wilson will score a goal from a free kick. But they're not necessarily known like Arsenal are, and I think that was their only out thing against us that they could get at. And I think we'll just absolutely suffocate them. So positive 2-0, clean sheet, and then we really start getting the ball rolling in the league. What do you think?
I think I went with 3-0.
3-0, even more positive.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed at all by Fulham. The thing is, I put them and West Ham as my lowest performers of match week 1. Yeah, I wasn't impressed at all by Fulham. West Ham, I was quite disappointed to see. The same was my reaction for Fulham. And again, the thing is, this attack, especially when I look at Cunha and Mbumo, the thing is that you see certain players and you go, they haven't scored in a game, and it reflects on their faces that next game in they're just going to trash the net. And I just feel Cunha or Mbumo, I think one of these guys is definitely going to be scoring. And I just don't see right now with Fulham, like you mentioned as well, no new faces into the team, no real signings. I think they're going to struggle. And I think United right now, off that Arsenal game, are in a very good position mentally. And you could even say, the morale around the team, it is quite positive.
Yeah, I would think as well, if I put myself in a Fulham's fan's shoes, which I never want to do. But if I'm looking at that, I'm looking at the performance against Arsenal, and I'm thinking these boys are going to come here to play. They're going to want a decent scoreline, because the fans are asking questions like, oh, they was good, however, but they didn't score. So, again, Marco Silva's probably saying the same things to the Fulham players, we just need to frustrate them. Really frustrate him. Don't let him get any minutes.
He must really hate United as well, Marco Silva.
Oh, yeah.
Ever since that FA Cup game.
Yeah, sent off. Who was it? Mitrovic sent off. Willian sent off as well, wasn't it? fucking crazy game. Hopefully nothing like that, and we don't get red cards on our side if it's their side. That's absolutely fine. But let us know your score prediction for the game on Sunday. Will we beat Fulham, and how many goals will it be by? Will Mbumo score? Will Sesko start? Put all the above in the comment section and let us know your predicted 11s as well. Drop us a follow on socials, bottom right hand corner of your screen. This has been the preview for the Fulham game. Me and Shreyas will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. See you in a bit.